Hi, I'm Beth from Sew Country, and welcome to day 2 of the sew along that's being held in the J&R Edwards Facebook group. This sew along is for the Jotted Down pattern by K. Deal Handmade, and on day 1 we worked on cutting and interfacing, and day 2 we're going to start prepping our pieces and getting to sewing. So the first thing we're going to work on is this back lining panel. So we're going to get out our back lining piece, which is piece B. But what you're going to do after you get your back lining panel piece cut out is you're going to draw a line 1/2 of an inch in from each side. Then you're going to fold that raw edge just to that line so it touches it. This in a sense is folding it in 1/4 of an inch. It's just an easy way for me to do it. I'm just going to put some clips in there and just use my fingers to kind of press it and then sew it that way. So once you get this clip down, you are going to sew both sides 1/8 of an inch away from that folded edge. There's the first edge. Now we're going to repeat that for the other side. That's the prep work we need to do on the back lining of panel. So now that we have that done, we're going to set it aside. What we're going to work on next is this notebook cover back sleeve, which is C1. So go ahead and pull out your C1 piece. So what I do is I take that piece and I simply fold it wrong sides together. In the pattern, she does tell you what the new measurements will be for this piece. So just get the pattern and follow that to make sure you have it folded the right way. Then what you're going to do is you're just going to top stitch down that folded edge 1/8 of an inch away. So now your C1 piece, your notebook cover back sleeve, is now prepped and ready to go. So I'm going to set this piece aside also. So now I'm going to pull out C2, my zipper pocket panel, and also my piece D, my zipper pocket facing. On my zipper pocket facing, I'm going to draw a line down from the top and the bottom. I'm also going to draw 2 lines each side. This creates the zipper box that I will sew onto my piece C2. So what I did with my C2 piece was I folded it wrong sides together and made the crease right there. I don't make a hard crease, I don't need that. I just need this to figure out the proper placement for this facing. So I center my facing so that the raw edge is right in that crease. I'm going to use a clip to clip it at the top and a clip at the bottom, and then I open it up, and that is where I'm going to sew my box. So I do not sew these short sides. I leave them unsewn. So what I do is I back stitch here at the top, sew all the way down, back stitch again. I break my stitches and then sew down this line, back stitching at the top and bottom again. So let's go ahead and do that and get that in place. So now I have that box sewn down, and so I'm going to do the typical thing you usually see. I'm going to draw the little upside down triangle there and draw the line down the middle, and I'm going to cut that out. I fold it in half, just a quick snip through all the layers. And I start cutting towards that triangle, or the V, whatever you want to call it. Once I get up to that, but I go at a diagonal to where my stitches end. I do not cut through my stitches. This creates the opening for my zipper. Now what I do is I'm going to push this facing through. So now I have the zipper pocket clipped open, and I'm just going to let this sit here for just a minute while I work on the zipper itself and the lining. So pull out your zipper tape with your pull attached. The measurements are given in the pattern, and your zipper lining piece. So I'm going to go ahead and sew my lining on. My lining is going to be right side up. My zipper is going to be right side down facing it. I'm going to line up that top raw edge of the tape and the lining, and I'm going to sew it about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. After I got that sewn on, I went ahead and flipped it down and top stitched. This is how it looks from the, I guess, the lining side, and this is how it looks from the exterior. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this other raw edge and the raw edge of my tape, and I'm just going to match them together. I'm going to make sure the sides of my lining match and the tops match. Now we have the, it's like a tube is what it is. And so I want my zipper to close at the top. I am going to first lay it down this way, and then I'm going to sew that box just at the bottom edge. After I get that sewn, then I'm going to flip my lining down, and then also both short sides and that top long side. This is to make sure that everything gets, the zipper gets attached, but also that it doesn't impede the way the lining will lay when it's all said and done. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my clips out of the way. You can use a layer of double-sided tape, glue, whatever your preference is, to make sure you install your zipper tape properly. Again, I'm going to have lining pocket going this way, zipper pull going up, and I'm going to put it right back behind here. I'm going to just flip over and make sure I have plenty of tape on both sides. I do. And so now what I'm going to do is just sew that bottom. I'm not going to sew any of the sides or the top at this point. Let me just show you that my pocket lining is going up. So now that we have that bottom line of stitches done, we are going to flip that pocket lining down to the place where it will typically be whenever we close up this pocket. If you remember, the pocket is going to be eventually folded like this and like standing like this in our jotted down journal holder. So we want the lining that way. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start stitching here, back stitch, go this short side all the way down the long side and back that short side and stop our stitches there. And that will attach the zipper tape completely to this panel. And then we'll just have to worry about closing up our sides. So I'm going to pull my zipper pull down just a little bit and go ahead and get in there. So now I have the zipper tape attached, and so now what I need to do is I need to close up my sides so that the pocket is fully functional. I have this facing right sides up, and then I'm just going to stitch down and close up that pocket. So now my pocket is closed. I'm going to fold the zipper pocket panel back in half again, just like I did when I started. Flip those edges down. And then I'm going to top stitch along that folded edge, and that will complete this portion. So that part is complete. So now we're going to take our piece E, the card slot panel, we're going to fold it in half, wrong sides together. Again, the pattern will tell you the measurements after you fold it to make sure you orientated it the right way. But just so you know, it's going to fit like this, so it should be folded that way. What we're going to do first is I'm going to top stitch all along that folded edge, just 1/8 of an inch away. Now what I'm going to do, since I have that top stitch, is I'm going to take this zipper pocket that we just created, I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to push all this stuff out of the way just so I have this single piece by itself. I'm going to line up the raw edges of both of these pieces and clip them together. Now that I have them clipped together, I'm going to use the markings that were given in the pattern to mark the slots on this card slot panel. I'm going to use chalk to mark mine. You can use whatever, but you would want it to go away at the end. And after I mark those lines, I'm going to sew directly on them, making sure that I'm only sewing through the card slot panel and the one lining, this one piece right here. I'm not sewing through my pocket lining. If I did that, then I would not be able to open the pocket. So keep that folded back. So now I have all the markings made on my card slot panel. I have the lining pulled out of the way, and I'm just going to sew down each of those lines. I'm going to back stitch at the top because that will have the most amount of pressure when people pull things in and out of there. So now that we have the card panel and slots attached, this is the last step for part 2 of the sew along. We will finish everything up and put it all together in part 3. So go ahead and post your progress pictures of what you have so far under the comment in the J&R Edwards Facebook group. And we will see you again soon and finish everything up. Thank you so much for sewing with me, and I hope you guys have a great day.